Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
We've got Jason Howell right here. He produces Twit, Twig, MacBreak Weekly. He's the host of All About Android. He is the host of Android App Arena. He is a man about town, and he's carrying the stylish Nexus 9.
Check this out. This is the HTC and Google collaboration, the Nexus 9. And yeah, you know, it's a good tablet. It's got issues, though. We can talk all about it, but
it's also the first device we've seen with Lollipop.
It's the first
release.
Yeah, the first official device with Lollipop. It's also the first official 64-bit Nexus device tapping into the 64-bit capabilities of Lollipop. And so, you know, you kind of hope that it's going to kind of speed things up a little bit, give it a little bit more better, you know, management of the resources and all that kind of stuff.
It's very aesthetically pleasing.
Yeah, if not a little bit.
No, I was talking about Lollipop.
Oh, okay. No.
Android 5.0.
No, Lollipop is fantastic.
I think the look of Lollipop is great. The Nexus 9, maybe a little less so.
Yeah, and, you know, Nexus, this wouldn't be a first for Nexus devices. They're usually kind of, I don't want to say basic, but they don't necessarily go overboard as far as design notes. But, you know, one thing about this one, of course, you have the kind of metal casing around the side. The back is a soft touch plastic. It's getting a little bit of heat for the fact that, and you're not going to see it in this camera, but it kind of has a little bit of a hollowness in the center, which for a tablet that starts at $400 for the 16 gig version.
You mean you press it and it goes in?
Yes. So
it's got a soft spot like a baby?
Kind of. A little
Yikes.
bit. It's back there. It's not the worst thing in the world. I've definitely seen worse, but it's there. And for the OCD, you know, people in the world, it might bother you a little bit.
This is I guess the successor to the Nexus 7 and the Nexus 10s of last year.
Exactly, and this is definitely different. Those were 7-inch devices. This is a
7 and 10. This is in between.
Right. Yes, exactly. 8.9-inch display.
Who makes this?
This is HTC.
Okay.
So this is HTC. HTC's been out of the tablet game for a long time.
Yeah, they have.
And honestly, you know, I think I would have expected a little bit tighter control over the design for HTC. They're very known for their design, and usually they're kind of little tanks.
Look at the HTC M8. The HTC One is a gorgeous phone.
Yeah.
I'd have loved to have seen a tablet based on that design. I
don't hate the design here, and the body, you know, the kind of flexing in the back doesn't bother me that much, particularly in use. It is a little heavy. But
was HTC constrained by the price? Is this a low-cost tablet?
I wouldn't say it's low-cost. I'd actually say it's pretty close to premium versus the competition. $400 for 16 gigs, $479 for 32 gigs.
Oh.
That's what this model is.
It's iPad
And then
cost.
eventually, yes, exactly. Eventually a $599 for a 32 gig with LTE. And you've got a 2.3 gigahertz NVIDIA Tegra K1 dual-core processor.
This is the newest K1, the 64-bit K1.
Yes, exactly. So, you know, it's pretty fast. I would definitely say, though, there are some times when, you know, I'd go to do things and I get a little bit of choppiness, jitteriness, and I don't know if that's just inherently in Android at this point, because I'm always hoping for things like that to kind of go away. But more or less, it's pretty snappy. It just every once in a while things will kind of jitter.
It feels decent. Yeah. Is this how high res the screen is it? Is it a very high res screen?
Yeah, 2048 by 1536.
Okay.
That's 281 pixels per inch.
So that can slow it down a little bit. That's a lot of pixels to shove around.
Yeah, exactly. Not QHD necessarily. So at least there's that. But you know, and to my eyes, pixel-wise, everything looks super sharp.
Yeah.
It has an 8-megapixel rear-facing camera back here. I kind of like the kind of chrome styling around the camera. Pretty unimpressive camera performance. Yet again, my complaints with tablet cameras is just that, you know, A, I don't take a lot of pictures with my tablets, but B, they just generally come out kind of washed out, a little hard to get a nice, fully sharp, focused picture. And this tablet is kind of no different. This is the Veterans Day parade.
This was earlier today. Yeah.
Just earlier today, I went for a little walk with the tablet. You know, but having said that,
is it clean? It feels like there's a smudge at the top of the lens.
Yeah, well.
Is it clean? Look at the back there. Is it? That's a smudge. It looks smudged. Either that or you really is a crappy camera. It's terrible.
Hard to say. I didn't see a whole lot down there, but
wow.
You know.
Nice lion.
What you gonna do? Yeah, that was a picture on the side. I decided not to buy that.
No, I don't know.
But somebody else is gonna end up with that picture of the lion. So yeah, so camera, you know, kind of unimpressed. Oh hey, I know that guy.
What's Zach doing?
Oh, he's just pushing buttons. As
Is he
usually
doing the
does.
TV broadcast for the PCA out there? I think he is.
I believe he is.
Yes.
Yeah, so you can kind of see, though, in general, kind of washed out, not really, you know, vibrant. This is kind of a close-up of flowers.
It's terrible.
Like to do. It doesn't really look that impressive.
Oh,
So-
that always looks good, though. Every camera looks good with that picture.
Man,
Yeah,
that
but
picture.
See how that's smudged up there? It feels like it might be smudged, but you say it's not.
yeah.
So that's just not good. It doesn't handle the bright light from above.
No, and you know, and a little bit of kind of motion blur. This is front-facing, good light.
That's actually a better
And
camera.
front-facing, bad light.
Oh yeah, a lot of grain.
That was pretty low light in my living
Yeah.
room. So, as far as well, we've kind of talked a little bit about the display, the device design itself. It is one of the first, if not the first, Android tablet to be in 4:3, like the iPad. And personally, I actually really like the 4:3 aspect ratio on a tablet. I think it just kind of matches, kind of like holding a sheet of paper. You know what I mean? Versus the super tall, slender device, which is what we've had in Android tablets a lot.
Like the Nexus
before.
7, which is just so tall because it's 16.9.
Now, the downside to that, of course, is if you're using this to watch a movie. So
It's
let's
less
go
good
into
for video, yeah.
play movies, and you end up, you know, I've got a lot of them. But
You're
we'll
going
go
to have
into-
title bars or those black
Yeah,
bars.
you're going to have a little bit of the title bars, which, you know, doesn't really bug me because back in the days of laser discs, this
Right.
is just the way.
Boy, that still looks good, you know?
Yeah, it does. But this also, and it might be kind of hard to point this out on video, but you can see on the edges, this might seem like nitpicking. The LCD panel has this kind of edge bleed that in certain, you know, when you have certain things on the display, really show themselves.
Oh, you look at
kinda see
that.
it.
You could see it there
Yep.
dramatically.
Yeah, it's pretty.
It's almost like a 3D bezel or
It's
effect.
pretty significant. All LCD panels have a little bit of this. This one, and I've seen this in a lot of reviews, has it a lot. And I think where it kind of falls apart is, you know, this is considered relatively a premium tablet.
Yeah.
So when it has issues like that, you kind of wonder, you know, if they didn't do their homework before pushing it out. Same with the kind of the back that bows in a little bit. Collects a lot of fingerprints on the back, but again, that doesn't really bother me. If you have the black casing, you're probably going to see it a little bit more. What else? Heat. If you're playing games, I've played quite a few games on this, and it does a really good job. The processor does a great job playing these games like Real Racing 3 and everything like that, but the tablet actually gathers a lot of heat while you're doing that. And sometimes, if you're playing a game that has a lot of touchscreen controls, like you're dragging your finger over a lot, you feel that heat through the screen. So that can kind of get a little annoying, but you know, everything has a little bit of heat, so I guess it's not the end of the world. As for Lollipop, Lollipop's fantastic. You know, it has a lot of really great features, multi-user guest mode.
That's the thing that's interesting. So you have this set up for yourself, but you have a guest mode,
I have
which
a
is
Twit
kind of like
demo.
the traditional guest mode, and then a kind of a company mode.
Yeah, which I'm not even using my Twit demo account for whatever reason. But yes,
And it's
so
easy.
you
You
can set
just
up these
swap
profiles.
one to the other.
Yeah,
If
it's
you
pretty
gave it
easy.
to a kid, would you use the guest mode, and then anything they do, it gets wiped out? Kind of. Is that?
See, so it just switched
Oh, look
over
at that.
to my Twit demo mode,
That's
and
neat.
it's its own sandbox. All the
completely
apps
different.
are completely isolated, although they're only installed once. So if I install an app on one side and then
Yeah.
I go to install it here, it's not going to actually download and install it a second time. It's just going to clear that app to work on both sides, so you save your storage space that way.
Great.
So that's kind of nice. You know, material design, Project Volta is its battery management. And I found the battery to be pretty great on this. Gaming, it would slow it down, of course. But in regular use, I found the battery to be super sufficient. They rated at around 9 hours for that. Yeah, and you know, it's a Nexus device. So
What does that mean?
generally, it means you're going to get speedy updates direct from Google. Speedy is kind of up in the air right now because, as we were talking about before the show, the Moto X 2014 edition is already getting a Lollipop soak test, and that's before any of the other Nexus devices have received it yet.
Right.
So there's a little bit of a, you know, kind of a brewing tension going on with Nexus fans that are like, hey, this is a Nexus device. We're supposed to get it first. But I think it's ultimately it's a good thing for everybody if these updates come faster. And yeah.
I mean, it has Lollipop on it right now, and I guess because it's Nexus, it's pure Lollipop. It's nothing.
That's right.
There's nothing else on
There's
there.
no extra, you know, added apps that aren't part of Google's kind of basic, you know, standard approach for Android. So it keeps it really stripped down and basic. And, you know, if you like Matthias Duarte and his design influence, then you're going to like this. That's exactly what it's all about. So that's kind of the Nexus 9, 6,700 milliamp hour battery. I already said it's rated at 9 hours, but for you spec folks out there, there you go. Ultimately, I can give you the pros and cons if you like to hear them.
Yes. No.
All right.
Well, no, I don't want to hear those. Keep on moving. No, yes, please. Of course I want to hear
Next
them.
product. Okay, so I really like Lollipop on the device. Oh, of course. 64-bit in tow is fantastic as well.
Can you tell really 64-bit? You can.
What's that?
64-bit. You can tell the difference.
Well, here's how I feel about 64-bit. It's early, obviously, and you probably and it's hard to know for sure whether you can actually see any sort of improvement from 64-bit or not. But the OS is 64-bit. So you might as well have something that's capable of doing 64-bit.
Here's my opinion, because I don't think 64-bit is in any way an improvement, except for one thing. You can do more memory. But no tablet yet is doing more than 3 gigs.
Only 2 gigs of
and that's only got 2. So I think that in a way, 64-bit could actually slow you down because the registers are larger. You're dealing with things in bigger chunks. It speeds you up in some things. It doesn't speed you up in other things.
I just want it all, Leo.
It's
so
bigger
if it's capable,
number.
I want it. Yes, exactly.
Yeah, I don't think 64-bit is going to be a reason to buy a tablet for some time.
Yeah, no.
When we start seeing 5 and
agree.
6 and 7
some
gigs,
apps are actually there's some incompatibility that I've discovered on apps.
And that's
with
the other
this,
side.
And I have to imagine that's partially due to the 64-bit.
And Lollipop, I imagine, is a little bit.
But that's all going to iron itself out. I wouldn't ding that against the Nexus 9. The battery I found pretty great. Nexus, of course, equals fast updates, so that's great. As far as the cons are concerned, I think the light bleed in the display is something that's going to turn some people off, particularly in this price point.
Now that you pointed it out, I see it.
Yeah, that's the thing. Once you see it, it's hard to unsee. The hollow design is going to turn some people off as well. The camera, you can't deny that the camera isn't that fantastic. And I think just in general, this is one of the first Nexus tablets, definitely in a while and possibly ever, that's priced, priced around the same premium levels as the competition. So you really expect the fit and finish to be up and elevated for that cost. I don't know if it's necessarily there with this.
Try,
I have to say it's a try. I don't think it's a bad tablet. I just don't think it's a no-brainer. And
Are they still selling the old ones, the Nexus 7 and 10?
Oh, that's a really good question.
Because that's what I would buy.
I don't think that they are anymore. I think the Nexus 7 is done. I could be wrong on that, but I feel like I heard that.
And I don't think I'm alone on this, because I have a Nexus 7. I felt no urge to buy the Nexus 9.
Don't get me wrong. I think it's a great tablet. I'm happy to have it, and I will definitely use it and everything. I just don't think it's a no-brainer. And I think previous Nexus tablets have been a no-brainer. Do you see them in there? No.
They took it off.
Nexus 7's gone.
So I guess this is the tablet of the future.
This is for the foreseeable future, as far as official Google tablets.
Will you use this going forward as your kind of go-to tablet for all about Android? I think so.
Yes.
Because it's pure Google.
Yep, exactly. And I have, it has Slim Port capabilities, so I can also use it to kind of demonstrate apps on Android App Arena and everything. So
but I have to say, as a user of the Nexus 7, I feel no urgency to upgrade. I feel like
I think you're
I'm
okay
getting
with
everything I need with a 7, at least for another year.
So,
Right. And it's swift and and happy. Jason Howell, he hosts All About Android and Android App Arena. He's an expert on Android and the go-to guy when it comes to Android devices. Thank you.
Cool. Thank you.
I appreciate it.